every year, 1.2 million children are sold or forced into sex slave, human trafficking. That means on average that 1 every 26 seconds are taken from their lives and more than likely will die in the industry before they reach 21. This is a sad reality, and I believe that we can end human trafficking in our lifetime if we are able to do a couple of things. The first is to raise awareness to the cause and the effect of human trafficking in our world, to call upon government to create laws, enforce those laws, and then also use our influence to cause international laws to be enforced for sex trafficking. And then lastly, to join together in raising awareness as well as education, because sex trafficking often happens to the poor and undereducated. If we can do those things, then I believe that we could see sex trafficking end before my lifetime is concluded. So let's begin by giving a voice to the voiceless. The first thing that I want to talk about is this. One of the easiest ways for us to raise awareness, but is the hardest thing, is that we have to talk about it. In order to know the fullness of the severity of the subject, we have to be willing to know the facts and then present them with confidence. So a couple things you need to know. According to Destiny Rescue, which is a ministry that I'm involved in, that helps to rescue girls from brothels and sex trafficking industry, has a statistic that suggests 27 million people are slaves in today's world. So 27 million people are forced to be slaves in today's world. Congress released a statement that said 700,000 young women and children are passed back and forth between our international borders a year. So this is an epidemic that's hitting everywhere in huge ways. President Obama declared December 31st, 2012 that January is National Slavery and Human Trafficking Month. So we are to raise awareness during this time. So coming up in January is a great time for us to be able to do that. Knowing the facts about this, I think, will help change the persona of prostitution and sex trafficking, that it's not voluntary as much as we'd like to think, that it's not guys just being guys, it's guys preying on victims, and so we need to see it as such. Our government's doing a good job, but there are a lot of governments that are not doing well at all. In fact, ProCon, which is a ministry also committed to eradicating prostitution, did a survey and found that of the 100 most influential countries in the world, 61% of them have no laws in place for prostitution or brothels. So they're wildly legal in there. Of those 61, 10 countries have legalized pimping, which is essentially open slavery. And these girls have no voice and they have no choice. So countries like Venezuela fall into those categories, that they legalize prostitution, brothels, as well as pimping. But what they've done to start changing those things is they've made forced sex illegal, and as a result have sentences for up to 20 years for people who are caught trying to force young women into having sex. And so that's one effort that's at least trying to help raise the awareness on that. More can be done, and we need to contact Congress immediately to let them know about our interest in wanting to see a better global effort. Lastly, the things that we need to do is educate and develop opportunities for people so that they don't have, or so they have options and don't see the sex industry as their only source of hope. One way we can do this is through Destiny Rescue, like I mentioned. They provide training for girls that are rescued out of brothels, and they do this on the six major continents that we have. They have operations, and they are extracting girls, and they're training these girls skills. They're giving them opportunities to work for a living and earn money so they don't have to go back to this lifestyle. In addition to that, they see it on a sociological level that it's important to impact the communities that these kids are coming from, because if we can raise awareness and raise standards, then they won't be forced to choose this as their only option. And so what they're doing is they're developing things like pig breeding and fish breeding and other agricultural means to develop income for these lower income families in the rural areas. So essentially they're able to earn money. They won't have to sell a child to try and feed the other children they have. So these are great things that we need to that are being done, and we need to celebrate those things. But we also need to understand that God sees this as a great injustice. and we need to see it as such. God's going to judge those people for the wicked things that they've done, but we also can't just sit around and do nothing. There's more that we can do. And so as a result, I think it's time for us to step up and start helping financially to rescue these girls that have been reported as early as 5 years old out of these brothels. We need to financially help them extract these girls. We also need to serve on local committees and ministry trips to see it for what it is and get a good grasp and a good hold of the reality of this situation, so that we can approach our state and federal politicians and let them know of the injustices that are being done. Because, as I said at the beginning, every 26 seconds a child is taken. And so by the time we finish this speech, 14 kids will have permanently lost their innocence. And I think God cares greatly for his creations, and I think we need to care as well, because every second counts.